Good evening. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live. We're going to start a new series called Life Course for the next few weeks. And we would appreciate it if you would join us. And if you have any comments, please send it to us. And it'd be nice if some of you would share some of your life experiences with us. So you can private message me. And I will not use your name, but I'm interested in knowing what your life experiences have been. No matter whether you're old, middle-aged, young, doesn't matter to me. I would love to know how your life course has been and how it's going and what plans and strategies you have for your life in the future. Where you want to be and what obstacles that you face and barriers that you face to fulfill the desire and strategy of your journey in life. So please do that for us, okay? And we would love that. So we're going to play our theme song. It is performed by Lindsay Rees, my wonderful, talented granddaughter, and produced and written by David Whitfield. So join us for our song.
Lift the load from my shoulders, shake the chains my heart. Let the crushed and silent voice within declare a new start. Song of renewal deep in my heart, sung in the daylight, sung in the dark. Troubles in this life weigh on my mind, but I live stronger, stronger to leave them behind. Living doesn't last forever. I wanna live while I'm here. Recovery's on the way, breathing no wonder. Today's not forever. Dream big, see clear. Life is now or never. One single life, one single love, one single voice I'm flying above. Over the doubts and fears, over the wasted years, over the mountains that get in my way. This chance won't see tomorrow. I gotta live it today. Living doesn't last forever. I wanna live while I'm here. Recovery's on the way, breathing no wonder. Today is not forever. Dream big, see clear. Life is now or never. Now or never.
Okay, thank you for that. I want to lay a foundation for what we're going to be discussing the next few weeks on Life Course. Howard Buffett said in his book, 40 Chances, that none of us were able to choose our parents. He called it the Ovarian lottery. So our parents, whoever they might have been, produced us. Whatever lifestyle they have, good, bad, ugly, whatever it may be, whether they're capable and understand how to raise children or do not understand, which most of us parents, when we had children, were quite ignorant and didn't know how to do a lot of things with our children. And if we had it to do all over again, we could probably maybe do a better job. And because we see the pitfalls and some of the decisions we made cause our children to be distressed in certain areas. So, saying that, if we can't choose our parents, so if you're born into a home where there's abuse, no matter what kind of abuse it is, where you're not nurtured, where you don't feel loved, where they don't take good care of you as far as physically feeding you right, clothing you right, keeping you clean, and holding you and talking to you and singing to you. And maybe your parents are wonderful parents, but they don't have a lot of resources, so that creates some pain in your life because sometimes kids are quite cruel, okay, to that. And also that it is a proven fact that if you're not trained properly by the time you're 4 years old and socially develop socially by the time you're 4 years old, that your life will probably not go well. I mean, some kids make it out of that and self-socialize themselves and self-discipline themselves, but most of them don't. If you are not trained in social skills, when you go out to a restaurant and you scream and holler and kick and fight and disturb the whole restaurant, or if you don't play with other children well, you beat on them, you take away their toys, then nobody will want to be around you. So it's not your fault necessarily. It's your parents' fault that they didn't understand or they didn't know or they just didn't do it, didn't train you in the proper social skills. And so that is a detriment to the children if parents do not understand the principle and understand discipline and training. Now, discipline, I don't believe in corporal punishment. I don't believe in striking your children. I don't believe in any of that. But there are ways that you can raise your children where they are disciplined and trained properly. Okay? So I wanted to lay that foundation for you. So whatever home you were raised in, it was not your choice. And if it turned out well for you, wonderful. If it was a burden to you and painful, well then I'm sorry that happened to you. But life can be changed, okay? So let's begin. I don't know how many of you are taught in school and know anything about Lewis and Clark back in the beginning of the United States of America, when only states and settlements were on the East Coast, New York, Pennsylvania, those 13 colonies, I can't name them all, that were up there. And so they wanted to find out about the land that they were in, the continent that they were on. So they retained a couple of guys named Lewis and Clark. And they retained them to go west and map the West and see what it was like and make a map of it. And they raised the money. The government paid them to do that and give them all the resources that they thought they needed and the help that they thought they needed and sent them on their way. Now, they were going into places that there was nobody. It was a wilderness. It had never been explored before. To make a map of our continent. Now, life is the same way. When you begin your life, as you were born, and your life begins, your life course begins, as you're a young child, as you're a young child, a baby, and your parents are there, and it's up to them to, as I said before, to nurture you and to love you. We know that in Romania, back years and years ago, there was so many children, and they took children from the families and put them in a central location to raise them. And a lot of them were orphans, and some of them, and they raised them, but they never did anything for those children. But they kept them clean. They changed their diapers. They fed them, but nobody ever helped them. Never, ever helped them and loved on them. And there were, I think, thousands of children that were in these, I don't know where you'd call them, an orphanage or what you would call them. And a lot of them died because they had no interaction with another human except being fed and bathed and their clothes changed. Nobody ever picked them up and held them and loved them. Because when we're born, we're totally dependent on someone else to take care of us. We can't even roll over when we're born. We can't feed ourselves. We can't clean ourselves when we go to the restroom. We can't do any of that. And so we not only need nurturing, somebody to hold us and love us and sing to us, we need somebody that will take care of us because we're totally dependent. And if people don't take care of us, we can't do anything about it, and we just cannot live without being totally taken care of. So it's very important that if you're going to have children and planning on having children or have children, especially if they're newborns and young, that you take proper care of them, that you sing to them, that you keep them clean, that you keep them fed. And it's not an easy task to raise children. When they're first born, you have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. And that usually falls on the mother. Dads are they're not very good at getting up at 2 and 4 and feeding the children. A lot of dads do, but a lot of them don't. So it's very important, and it's a lot of work to do that. And it's a lot of work to train them. A child, when they're 3 days old, they can't tell you what they need. They can't talk. They can't roll over. They can't do anything but just scream, cry. Some of them can cry really, really loud. So if you're in that household and have a child that cries really, really loud, then you're going to get up. My sister had a child, and every night for 6 months after he was born, he started crying at 10 o'clock at night. No matter what they did, no matter what they tried, they took him to the doctor. They tried all kind of formula. They tried everything they knew. And the child cried every night. I don't know how my sister and her husband kept their sanity. But anyway, and they tried everything, as I said. So, it is tough sometimes. Because this life journey, we want our children, if we're parents, we want our children to get the right start in life. To be fed properly. Be taken care of if they get sick. Or whatever happens to them. To take care of them. And the child needs that. And so if they're not properly nurtured at that age, as I said, then it will affect them for the rest of their life. So parents have a tremendously large responsibility that God has given us in our lives to take care and raise our children properly and teach them the right things. Okay? Sorry, my nose is itching. I've got allergies really bad tonight. So anyway, we're doing that. So Lewis and Clark, they were retained to make this map. So as we begin life and start growing up and we become 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, and the whole world lies in front of us, we're going on a path that we've never been before. We're starting a life course that we don't know what it is. There's no map for that. There are advice, there are teachers, there are all those things, but we do not know what our life course is going to bring us. Some of the things in our life course that will be good or bad is based on not only our parents' decisions and what they have, our school teachers, those mentors that are around us, the children that we live in and the neighborhood we live in. A lot of factors go into our life course. And if your parents are alcoholics, or if they're multimillionaires, or if they're in between somewhere, or your mother dies, or your father dies, or your father leaves, and you're in a one-parent family. I'm not criticizing those, but all those things affect you. Maybe one of your parents died. Maybe one of your siblings died. Maybe one of your siblings that was older than you just mistreated you horrifically. Okay? So, we don't know what our life course is going to be as we go through life. And so, when we get old enough and we start at 4 years old, you can make some decisions. You can make, if your parents teach you, you need to share. You can make a decision where you're going to share, or you're going to take the toy you have and beat the other child over the head with it. You can make those decisions. Okay? You can kick and scream and throw temper tantrums and get into rage. Some, but you can learn with teaching how to control your emotions. They did a study. I think they were 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds, and they took 3 children. I think they took 6 children. 3 of them, all 6 of them, they give them a marshmallow. And they told them that if they could wait for 5 minutes before they eat the marshmallow, they would give them another one. Well, half the children, 3 of them, eat their marshmallows right away, which was probably what I would have done if it was me. The other 3 waited for the 5 minutes so they got the other marshmallow. Now, they just didn't do that. That was all they did. They tracked these 6 children for, I think, 30 years. And those that were able to restrain themselves and have some self-discipline, their life was turned out very well. Okay? They were in control of things. They were able to make proper decisions about finances, about children, about the relationships and all that. And the 3 that didn't have the discipline to wait, their life was more of a rough journey than the other 3. Okay? So, as you go through life, we need to learn that we need to wait and not have to have instant self-gratification. Doesn't matter whether you're 4 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, 50 years old. Doesn't matter. We need to learn that we do not need to have instant self-gratification on anything that we want. I know we live, as they say, in a microwave society, but and we want everything right now, and we don't have to wait. Used to it, if your mother was cooking, it took an hour or so to get dinner or supper, however you called it back in that day, or lunch or breakfast, ready for you, and so you had to wait. If you were really hungry, you had to wait. They wouldn't let you snack because they'd ruin your dinner, they'd say, or ruin your supper, or ruin your breakfast, whatever. And they wouldn't let you do that. Okay? So, but today we don't have that. You can pop it in the microwave and in a minute, 2 minutes at the most. Most stuff that we have, you can have it, it's ready to eat and hot, and you don't have to wait. Self-gratification. You know, when I turned 15, my dad gave me a car. I didn't have to wait till I could earn the money. and I was privileged in that. And so in my life, I didn't have a lot of discipline not to wait. I wanted everything right now, even though that was before microwave, right? So we see all that, and as we go along this life course that we're on, we need to understand that we're going to have all kind of different things pop up because each individual has never been on the path and the life course that they are going to experience. So it's mapped as you go. People can tell us about things. People can show us about things. People can teach us and train us and make the life course somewhat more pleasant. But we still have to walk it ourselves. A lot of children, when I was a child in 1950 in that area, polio was rampant and a lot of people got polio, and it was a horrendous disease. Still is. There's still some polio in our world today. There were all kind of different things. So if you are going along and you get cancer, you get hurt really bad, you're in a car wreck, you go to war and your limbs are blown off, your life course can be totally changed in an instant. So it's impossible to map it out so that it is just perfect, because we don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes, and the decisions we make, and the decisions those around us make, and even down to the fact of our country and our city and our counties and our states. The decisions they make also affect our life course, especially if we go in the military and have to go to a place of war, and we experience moral injuries, physical injuries, emotional injuries, and all those things that totally mess up our life course and takes a very difficult time and a lot of effort to get back on course. Even when you come home, if you go to war and you come home, you're not the same person. So when you come home, people expect you to be the person you were when you left, and you're not. You go to college, okay? You lived with your parents all through high school, and you go to college, and there's nobody there to tell you to get up. There's nobody there to tell you to study. And so you change, and you start maturing, and you make, excuse me, you make new friends. You meet people that are in cultures you've never experienced before, and it's a wonderful time of learning. But when you come home, you're not a child anymore, are you? Kind of grown up, hopefully. You matured some while you were in college. And so you're not the same kid that left. You know, you left, say, at 18 years old, 19 years old, and you come back at 22, 23, been through college, all those things, met all these people, and you're just different. So, as Lewis and Clark begin, what amazes me about Lewis and Clark is they begin to go, and they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have radios, they didn't have any way to communicate back to the people that sent them. And it took a long time to get from where they were at to California, to the Pacific Ocean there. It took a long time. What's amazed me is they accurately, without satellites, without computers, without all those things, they accurately made maps of the territory that they went through. So that is totally incredible to me. I don't think I could do that. I mean, there wasn't any towns along the way. There wasn't any place to buy groceries. There wasn't any of that. So, we've used up our time tonight, and I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry. Okay? But anyway, We will be back next week on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. Continue this life journey, life course to talk about it, to understand what we're going to face, and be able to develop the skills to be able to face those things that we're going to face. So God bless you. We'll see you next Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Thank you.